All right, everyone, let's jump right in. This week, we're talking about how confidence is a process, not a personality. So I know many times you'll hear people say, oh, I'm just not a confident person. Not true, or it doesn't have to be. So Arash, let's jump right in. Some people are not born confident and others not confident, and that's what they carry with them their entire lives, correct?
Yeah, confidence is something everybody wants. There's nobody I've ever met who doesn't want to be more confident. But confidence is not something you wait to feel. It's something you decide to be. See, most people are constantly waiting to feel confident before they act. That's why they're always procrastinating. I'm not ready yet. And that's why they never move. Confidence is always built through action. You can't think your way into confidence. You act your way into it because it creates a visceral experience. But we've got to understand, a lot of people have a bad relationship with confidence. And they think confidence is arrogance. Confidence is not arrogance. It's the conviction that says, I know who I am, I'm comfortable with who I am, and this is what I'm creating, non-negotiable. So just like everything, Mike, confidence is a spiritual decision. It's an alignment and harmony between who you say you are and actually how you show up. When your words and actions are congruent, you're radiating confidence. But the funny thing is, confidence is never genetic. You can have two people in a family. One is super confident, the other isn't. It's earned, just like everything in life is earned, through repetition of keeping promises to yourself over and over again. And that's why it's the small promises that we keep to ourselves, the small actions before we're ready, that create the big results. And the beautiful part is, every time you follow through on your word, your subconscious starts to trust you. It will be like, oh, he's serious. She's serious. So confidence is self-trust in action.
I love this. And you know what I love about it? You don't have to do some big grand thing to build confidence. It's every small decision that you're making, every step that you're taking when you're not ready, when you have to muster up the courage and you're doing it anyways, that's where you're building that confidence.
Yeah. Confidence. I used to not be confident, and now I'm supremely confident. And I genuinely believe in myself in everything I do. But there was a time where I genuinely didn't believe in myself. I needed approval. Do you think I'm making the right decision? I would ask everybody. But I was losing. Confidence is essential to achieve your goal. You're not going to achieve your goal without confidence, but you're not going to also achieve it without courage. So confidence is built through courage, willing to do the thing before you're ready, willing to fail at your future self, then succeed at your present self. That's confidence in action. Another example of somebody who's lacking confidence, they're never all in. People are not all in because they're not confident. So how do you get confident? You've got to go all in before the confidence is going to show up. Then it's going to be with you the rest of your life. But we got to ask this, Mike, okay? Where confidence comes from? Where does it come from? Because we got to get them to understand, why do some people have it and others don't? Why do some people, whatever they touch turns to gold? Confidence. They have this knowing. But it always comes from identity, who you believe you are. And then it's followed through evidence, what you prove through your actions. And so when you align identity and evidence, you create integrity. So now you are operating from the spiritual side of who you are. That's where confidence comes from. Confidence is never from motivation. It comes from proof. I just did that. When I did something that I was super proud of, confidence. You can't just affirm it, though. You have to go out and act on it. That's where confidence comes from.
Arash, these words, confidence, self-identity, self-esteem, self-image, are they all interchangeable, or what is their relationship to each other?
I mean, they're all part of your identity. Confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, self-acceptance. Those are all part of your identity. But confidence is essential. When somebody's holding back, you could just feel it. That's somebody that's not confident. Then the other person, they're like, I don't give a shit what they think. I don't give a shit if I create the result or not. This is just who I am. I'm going to put and plant enough seeds out there. That's what I'm doing. But it all starts with your word. Your word is how you build confidence. So I could deconstruct how I built confidence. Like the first thing I did, and I shared the story many times, but I'll share it again because somebody else might need to hear this today. When I was losing, I was a fraud. I'd say I'd be doing these things and I never did it. Then one day I had this come to Jesus moment. I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm done chasing results. I'm going to start following through on my word. So the first step is I had to start doing what I'd say I do. And every time I made a commitment, I kept reinforcing a new belief. So confidence compounded in my life through consistency. That's why if we say we're going to get up at a certain time, we have to get up. We can't negotiate. If I say I'm going to operate out of my comfort zone, I have to do it. That's what's building confidence. That's number one. And then how did I really ingrain confidence was through reprogramming my mind. I kept speaking my new truth to myself. So I kept ingraining my future truth inside of me because our words reprogram my mind. I was in front of a mirror every day saying, I'm so happy and grateful now with my goal. And I say, I'm getting more and more confident every day. And I look at myself in the mirror, so we've got to stop saying I'm not ready. We've got to stop saying I'm not confident and start building confidence every day through your action. So do the thing you say and you're going to start stacking confidence. And then one more thing, because it's important I follow this up, then I'll turn it to you. But you have to live. This is the rule for confidence. You have to think, feel, and act from your future identity. You have to carry yourself as the top 1% version of you. Because the greatest version of you is dying to come out. And here's the beautiful part. When you operate with confidence and you get 1% better every day with that confidence, in 90 days, you're going to 37x your confidence. But the beautiful part is, if I start acting like the top 1% version of me, I'm going to start attracting the top 1% of opportunities.
Oh, that's good. You said at the beginning, you've never met a single person who doesn't want to be more confident. And yet so many people are making decisions and doing things every single day that are chipping away at their confidence. How do they turn that around? Or why is it that they're doing things to hurt their confidence, even though it's counter to what they really want?
Well, the second part I'll answer first. Why they're doing it? Because they're living in their past. So everything is driven from their past. So they're the example of living the same year for 50 years and calling it a life. See, what is our past? Our past is just education for us. If we love it, keep doing the great things from the past and bring it to the future. If we don't like it, we stop. We've got to create a new model. We have to stop acting on it. But no one is going to be confident until they decide they're going to be confident. And that's why I say everything that I've ever done that has happened effortless is when I've connected it to changing my life. We've got to decide right now, we're going to change our life. Nobody likes worrying about what other people think, but it's an epidemic. It is an epidemic. No one wants to be controlled by the outside, but they're always letting it. Why? Because they're not thinking. So confidence is not, I'm hoping, it's I'm certain. That certainty is magic in your life. Low confidence kills dreams before they begin. I always say, everyone wants more. They want to be, do, and have more. But they don't do the work. The work behind the door where nobody sees you is where you're building your confidence. Nobody sees my actions, but they see the end result. They don't see the preparation. The preparation creates my confidence. But then I go out and act in the world with the preparation I did. So low confidence, if you're second guessing, you have low confidence. If you're not trusting, low confidence. If you're not receiving compliments, you say, no, somebody says, you're so amazing in this. You go, no, that's you. Low confidence. But every time you hesitate, it's because you don't feel ready. But how are you ever going to be ready? The only way you can be ready for a thing is once you do it. So the confident person doesn't hesitate. They move, decide, and commit, and they're not attached to the outcome.
So just now you're talking about moving, taking action, committing. Well, you talk about how you can't read your way into more confidence. You can't listen your way into more confidence. It takes action to build that.
The only way you build confidence is through action, through evidence. And you keep stacking it, but you've got to be willing to lose because in the beginning, you have to always embrace the suck. You're not going to be as good. Like I had to embrace the suck. And the stacking of faith of keep doing it instead of stopping. Most people do a thing out of their comfort zone. They say, it didn't work, so they never do it again. You may have to do that thing 100 times. Are you willing to do it 100 times? Are you willing to do it 500 times? I am, because I know that's how you move mountains. I know that's where the magic is. And so you have to decide, like I said, if you're not connected to a big vision of your life, and I think the greatest vision we could have is changing our lives, but make it bigger than just you. Like do it for your kids. If you don't have kids, do it for the people you're closest to. Be the example. That's why confidence, it's so easy to create, but so hard for some people to understand.
I want to cover one more thing because I've seen people go on this roller coaster where when things are going well, their confidence seems higher. And when things are not going their way, their confidence takes a hit. And so how do you create that confidence that is not reliant on outside circumstances, is not reliant on the results that you're currently getting, is like a true sound self-confidence that's unwavering?
Well, what are outside results? First, they're a reflection of our past. Okay? So we're not comparing apples to apples. Every day you can build more and more confidence through doing things that you don't want to do, but are essential to your goal. You're constantly building confidence over and over again. Like I always look at new things I do. I do a bunch of new things. Okay. I remember years ago, I was in Las Vegas with my friends. Everyone was sleeping but me. I went to the gym and there was this app called Peloton, and I was like, I'm going to do a sprint with this app, right? You're laughing because you're sick of this story, but I remember I did it, and then it started with one day of doing it, and then I did it 100 and something days in a row, and so I built. I was never a runner, and I started running every day. Well, I behaved my way into the confidence, right? I behaved my way into it. And when you start doing things, like that's where it happens. You build confidence in yourself. Like now I'm cold plunging every day. 5 a.m. in the morning, I get up and I get in a cold plunge. The first day, is so different than I've done it 15 straight days, right? 15 straight. It's just so different now. But that's what I'm saying. Like, go do new things. It'll show you get confidence through the repetition of doing it. I didn't get confidence day one on anything. I wasn't born with confidence. I'm not special. If I can build confidence, so can everybody else. But they never put themselves on the hook to decide this is what they're going to do. But you've got to decide where you want to be confident. I want them, like an action step. I'm going to give it to you because it's in my mind right now, is pick one area of your life you've been holding back, where you've been settling for good enough. And I want you to build that area into confidence, wherever it is. I want you to raise the standard because you said you are sick and tired of being sick and tired. I always say, God, I remember when I bet on myself. I didn't have confidence until I bet on myself. And I almost didn't bet on myself. And I don't know where I would be if I didn't bet on myself. To bet on yourself, that's how you activate confidence. Confidence is not built in the mirror. It helps when you auto-suggest in the mirror because the repetition of doing that is building belief. But it's built the moment you act. You were born confident and capable. Now it's time to remember who we are. Confidence is not optional. It is essential. It is essential to live an extraordinary life. Act with confidence and you watch how much your life is going to expand.
All right, I actually wasn't laughing because I'm sick of the story. I was laughing because that is so you, where you don't just do something and see if you're going to like it or try something out. You are like, if you're going to do something, you're all the way in, and then you take 10 people with you to do it too. I mean, you were talking to everybody at Peloton. You would have thought you were on their payroll. Now you're taking everybody with you into cold plunging. And I love that because that actually helps you build confidence a lot faster in anything that you're doing because you're not half in, half out. You're all the way in and taking people with you.
I always want to bring people with me. Like if I find something great that's really impacting me, I want everyone to do it. I want everyone. And I'm telling you, I'm so proud of my wife because now she's doing cold plunging with me. She hates the cold. I hate the cold too. But it builds so much mental resilience. But in any area of my life, when I figure something out, I'm like, I've got to show this to them. I want to teach it to them so they could come and understand it. See, a lot of people are having such a hard time with their confidence because they're assigning a level of difficulty that it's going to be hard to build my confidence. They're telling themselves old stories. So they're not creating from what they really want. They're creating from their old model. The old has to be killed off. Our old self always has to be killed off. Like every level of growth is going to demand a new skill set and a new mindset. But when you already have confidence, you're not going to shrink to go do it. You're just going to go do it. You're going to do it. And every day you show yourself, you build more and more self-respect. Every day. Like I look at me and Mike, I look at you. Like for us to continue to dramatically scale our business, we're going to have to keep building more and more confidence. We're going to have to keep building greater and greater skill set. People think, oh, I got here, so I'm good. No, you got to keep going because at every level, there's a new level of confidence necessary. There's a new level of growth. And that's why you've got to get really good at being so good to yourself where if I'm not confident in an area, you work on it. If that's the area you want to work on. Like I'm not asking them to work on areas they don't want to work on. Like don't work on those. That's a waste of time. But work on the areas that are really going to move the needle in your life. And you're going to build so much confidence.
You know, that's a great point you just made because it's not like there's people who are not confident and people who are confident. There's levels of confidence and you can always go to another level. What is the fastest way to increase your levels of confidence?
There's two ways. Number one, you got to firmly decide this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm building my confidence. That's number one. Without decision, nothing happens. Then number two is you got to act. You got to act before you're ready. You got to act when the resistance comes. I watch so many people I teach, when you have resistance, go do the thing. They have resistance, they're still negotiating with the resistance. So they lost that opportunity. And it's honestly, you're going to think I'm over dramatizing it. I'm not. It's costing them millions of dollars. It's costing them great opportunities. It's costing them great partnerships. It's costing them great self-esteem by giving into the resistance.
And there will be resistance. So talk about that too, because it's not like you're going to build confidence and everything's going to be easy and you're going to be on this easy track. There's going to be resistance along the way.
If you're going after something big and there's no resistance, you're not going after something big. I'm going to tell you that. At every level, there's resistance, but you've got to use resistance as a cue to do the action. Right there. Right there's the opportunity. But I want you to do it right away. Don't be conditional with doing it now. Don't be doing it now with things you're comfortable with. I want you to do it when the resistance comes. In that moment, you just transformed your confidence. See, confidence doesn't come from a result. It comes from the moment you do hard things in a great way. What are hard things? Things you feel you're not ready, but you do it anyway. See, I always use this example. There's two people who go for this outcome and they fail. One person does it very timidly. They don't even try. They don't put themselves on the hook. The other person really goes after it. They still don't get the result. But the second person who went for it and they were willing to fail at their future self is the one who built confidence, is the one the next time they do it and the next time they're going to create extraordinary results. Well, the first example, the person who just did it timidly, didn't really put any effort in, didn't put any conviction in, they're going to keep going backwards.
Arash, you already gave the action step for today, but what I would like to do is give you an opportunity for last thoughts around this topic.
Confidence changed my life. I'm going to tell you, you have to prioritize confidence. We talked about on our last podcast about interest, committed, and obsession. When you have confidence, you're going to sprint towards obsession. Like I want everyone to go big. I want everyone to build an extraordinary life. But in order to do that, we have to let go of who we've been and be willing to go to who we want to be. Because I'm telling you, when you start becoming who you're really capable of, because there is another person inside of you that's dying to come out, but you've got to let it out and stop overthinking. And when you do that, your life is going to be so amazing. You're going to create things you never thought you could create. You're going to build things you never thought you could build. And you're going to have the most amazing impact, leadership, and experiences that your old self couldn't even imagine.
This was so good. I hope you all enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to our episode so you never miss an episode, whether you're listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, share this with your friends and family members so we can reach more people with the 7-Figure Standard podcast. And we'll see you next week with another episode. Thanks, Arash.
Thanks, Mykie.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7-Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mykie and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachandco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7-Figure Standard.